Spending your Tuesday noon hour time with us here at the University of Akron. After reviewing the video, from last week's game, it was just as I had thought after the game, and I'd spoken to the press and spoken to the team. Certainly there were areas in the offensive part of that game where we could have definitely won the game. In the defensive part of the game, certainly, and in special teams. And special teams becomes a glaring part of it because we miss a kick, you get a kick blocked. But we had really, I thought, played well in the special teams game. Zach had pinned them, on a sky punt outside of the one kickoff out of bounds, which we don't want. We had actually, I thought our kickoff coverage was good. Our kickoff return, Jaleel Carter, I thought, stepped up and did a nice job. You just don't want it to get to a point where it's going to be one single play at the end when you have to make it or they have to make it, and if you don't, it's going to be the consequences you don't want. So I felt like we improved in a lot of areas. We did not improve on defense. I think that would be obvious to the naked eye. But we did improve in a lot of areas on our team, but the final measure of improvement is the scoreboard, and we certainly didn't improve to that point. We're very excited about going to Lexington, Kentucky. It's going to be a great environment. Southeast Conference is a great conference. Kentucky has very passionate fans. It'll be a great stadium, a great environment, evening game on TV. On Fox Sports South, so we're really looking forward to that. We had a good start to our week yesterday, and I'm anticipating a good week of preparation as we go down and play. Obviously, we know it's quite a task, quite a challenge, but we just got to fix Akron and get Akron moving in the right direction, and play well on Saturday night.
Okay. How I don't know if comforting is the word, but how do you feel when it looks like at least you got a ground game to build on, something
that is very. That's encouraging.
Yeah.
I guess that would be the word, because it's got to start with that on both sides of the ball. So we can really build off of some of the things we did in the run game on Saturday. Really build off of that, because if you watch, if we're sitting here. As we sit here every week and you watch our run game, it's not like we change very much. We just, it's how we're going to run. What runs are best against this opponent, blocking them a certain way, and so on and so forth. But because we want to be a team that just keeps getting better at things.
Obviously, the team is down. What have you done to kind of boost their spirits and get them back up?
A little bit of the approach. The approach has been okay. Monday, we call Monday Accountability Monday, all right? And you have to be accountable for what is on the video. So if you had a missed assignment or you didn't do what you're supposed to do, okay, we got to learn from it. But the approach we've taken is we can't get that game back, but we have to learn from that game. And if we fail to learn from that game and allow that game to get us better, then we're really missing a huge opportunity. And that's the approach we've taken. And you get knocked down, in life, you get knocked down in athletics, and you got to get back up off, and you got to, compete. And so that's the approach we've taken. We have to really learn from this video, because in all phases, what I showed the team yesterday was, 2 fourth quarter drives. I showed when we were down 31-24, and had a chance to stop them on defense and didn't, and they scored. And we got the ball subsequently back on offense and went down and fumbled. Those 2 drives, both sides of the ball had a chance to win the game. Okay, it would have never got to. We all know what happened next. It would have never got to that. So as we reinforce that it was a team loss and all the correctable factors that were involved there, we got to grow from that. And it's a job of the head coach and the coaching staff and the players all to grow from that experience, so that we get down in that time again. We've been there, and now we can move forward and do the things you have to do at the end of a game to win.
You mentioned your sky kicks earlier. I think your first one was right before the half.
We had one where we downed it on the 3, right, and then we got them a 3 and out.
Well, maybe I'm using the wrong one. I take a sky kick as high and short.
Oh, on the kickoff.
Right.
The lob.
Right.
Yeah, when we were going into the wind.
Okay.
We did that. So when we were kicking from We kicked from the scoreboard to the locker room, we kicked deep. When we went from the locker room to the scoreboard, we
Right.
lobbed because we had a wind
Okay.
at that time.
I was curious, because
That was
I think
just-
the first time you did it was,
It was going that way, it was.
Yeah.
They caught it on our bench side, yeah.
right, and I was just saying, and I thought that gave him good field
Yeah.
position as opposed to,
To hit it. Yeah, it gave the ball to 30.
right,
But I didn't think, with the wind, if we'd kicked it, we might have not kicked it to the 15.
okay.
And it might, I think it would have come out
Bobby.
as a wash.
So your pass defense, are you concerned about that? It seemed like we've been stopping the run pretty well.
Well, I think if you-
Both teams kind of threw it all over the lot,
Yeah.
Syracuse.
But, yeah, when we, yes, I'm concerned about it. It has to get better. And so we've looked at the ways to do that. It's cutting down on some of our coverages, different personnel package to help that. All those things have kind of been addressed and will be addressed as we go through our week of preparation. We have to get better at pass defense. Part of it is the coverage part of it. Part of it is the pressure part of it. All right, it all goes hand in hand.
Any personnel changes back there?
We're having, no, I mean, Diamond and Marvase played both at corner, and they're both going to compete this week. We have, Jared Province is probably doubtful for this game, and Josh Richmond is questionable for this game. So that's going to put Sheldon Miller and Doug Richardson in more of a advanced role with us, and then Anthony Holmes, who's been playing on special teams since this week. He played on special teams. The first game he didn't play.
Can you say their injuries?
It's a hip pointer and a hamstring.
Who's got the hip?
Josh has a hip and Jared has a hamstring.
Can you give us just the balance and scales with Carter, offense versus defense?
We're moving him back.
Well, no, just where obviously you see his value on offense.
Yeah.
And just, that's what I'm saying, can you kind of, versus what's going on defense?
Yeah, I think that we've made Jaleel has, and we have made a wholesale commitment that he's a receiver. So there's no turning back to that.
Right.
He didn't play as much at receiver last week as he did the week before. And we evaluated everything on our practices during the week, and last week's practices warranted Antoine playing a significant amount. This week, we'll go back to that, and it could end up being them splitting more time in a game, depending on how practice goes this week.
I guess I asked that because, if you got an all-MAC guy standing there beside you, and obviously you do want him to play offense, is there a tipping point there where you say, hey, we need you here because it's just not ready yet there?
I'm not going to say there never comes that point, but we've not had any discussions in regard to that as a staff.
And it's because obviously you feel the people on defense are going to come on.
I do. We feel like we have some. We felt like we had our ability to move Jaleel to receiver was also based upon a needed receiver and the guys we had at safety that were coming on. So, and with none of those injuries being severe injuries, both those gentlemen will be back playing with us, sooner than later. That won't put us in that kind of bind.